Hello and welcome to another Wraggys Beers, Wines and Spirits review. Today from Williams Bros Brewing based in Scotland. I couldn't say where in Scotland, but Scotland nonetheless. It's their iconic, it's an American pale ale. It is slightly out of date. Um, canned, canned, canned exclusively for Audi. Yeah. And it's from Alora FK10 1NT. This bottle contains approximately one serving. Fair play. Specially produced for Audi. Obviously, you won't see this in Audi anymore. I wouldn't have thought so anyway. It's been on the beer wall a while. The only downer with being someone like me and who does beer reviews and who doesn't look at dates and buys more beers, and it's an ever um, growing wall. So we'll see how it cooks. It's more of a traditional beer than what we would class as a craft beer. First thing you've got to take from that, looks good. There we go. So yeah, golden pour, bit of carbonation going off, 2 centimetres of head. Bit of bready on the nose, to be honest. Into citrus. In any case, cheers all. Let's see how this cooks. Yeah, it's not bad. 4.4% ABV. Yes. I need to start reviewing older beers. I've got beers on the wall that I know they're either well out of date or they're certainly getting there. And this is March 2021. So it's a little bit on the out of date side. Now, do I care about dates? No, never have. I used to work in Sainsbury's, as you may well already know this. And we would have out of date stuff sometimes coming from the warehouse where something's been, um, you know, mislaid in the warehouse. It happens, these are mega warehouses. And, one of the blokes in the warehouse thinks, sod it, let's get rid of these. Yeah. Yeah, they've been sat here ages. We forgot about them. Let's just offload them to the supermarket. It happens, It's bound to happen. It's a thing. You look around most breweries. I'll guarantee you, most breweries have got out of date beer in the back of their brewery. And so yeah, I mean, we used to love it when we got out of date because one, we'd get it cheap. I mean, when I worked at Sainsbury's, we'd get it for 25% of the price. So if it was a £2 bottle of beer, we'd be getting it for 50 pence, and even less sometimes, just to get rid of it, so they didn't have to dispose of it. And why not? And sometimes it's just the fact that when people, the overnight staff, stock the shelves, they'll just ram the old bottles to the back of the shelf, and what happens is that stuff gets missed, And even though there are checks in place, because they're getting pushed to the back all the time, and you'd be surprised at how much that happens in supermarkets. Rotation is not always done, and in some ways, if you craft it, you push stuff to the back on purpose to make sure it's bloody goes out of date. Obviously, I wouldn't do anything like that because that would be naughty. Yeah, all right, cough all of a sudden. So a nice touch of citrus on this. Certainly tastes okay, easy drinking. So, in essence, drinking an out of date beer isn't a bad thing. So don't worry too much about dates. if it's a dodgy beer in the first place and you're drinking it out of date, oh, then that might be fun. But yeah, nonetheless, yeah, don't worry too much about dates. Yeah. So as you can see, it's lovely clear pour. You can't because it's yeah, yeah. It's looking good. It's a nice pour. Got a nice twang on the nose. It's a decent beer. I should have reviewed it beforehand there. And it's like a lot of beers. There's a lot of beers that I've brought that I know I've had a while, and I keep putting them to the back because I can't. I get new beers and I think, oh, sod that, I'm not reviewing that. Just keep pushing it to the back and pushing it to the back. And beers have changed again in supermarkets. And today I've bought 3. A beer haul video is coming. But I'm looking at beers now and I'm thinking, do I really need to review that beer from that brewery? Is it similar to a brewer they bought out for another brewery, for another supermarket? And this happened last year with a brewery last year. I had new beers in all the supermarkets. And yeah, they were all Californian. And I was like, it's the same bloody beer in a different label. And I wasn't overly fussed, and I did not review all of them. And I'm getting to that stage where I'm thinking, right, I'm just going to review the stuff, one that sounds good, that's a bit newer, a bit different, and that's worthy of a review from a supermarket. Because let's be fair, supermarket beers are always going to sell very well. However, they may not make the profit from supermarket beers that you'd expect. You know, even at 3 or 4 quid a can, because duty takes a wallop. Tesco and other supermarkets will take their price. Trust me. So the cost of producing the beer in the first place and canning or bottling the beer, by the time it gets to the shop, you'll be surprised. And I've had a brewer, a local brewer who used to work for big breweries, tell me at Kelham Island, not Kelham where I work there, and they'd make a quid on a pallet. Now that is ridiculous. So yes, they're not losing, but a quid on a whole pallet of beer is disgusting, you know. And that just seems wrong, doesn't it? You're selling a pallet of beer, so what, 500 bottles, and you're making a quid off that flipping pallet? I'd be like, sod that. And, you know, forget the supermarkets, but it was all about getting names out there. And that's the thing. You know, unless you can brew in mega bulk, like Brewdog do, they're not doing too bad, are they? But if you're brewing in mega bulk, that's where you can make the killing. Yes, you can afford to sell a bit cheaper and still make the money. And it just goes to show you, you know, it's only when your eyes are open to this do you understand. And I've had breweries say to me, like, we've brewed an Imperial Stout, and the Imperial Stout was something like 8 quid a can. And he says, we're breaking even at 8 quid. And it's like, Jesus Christ, you're joking. But you have to look at the duty, the cost of the electric, the cost of the product, and so on. And then you realise that, wow, you know, that's... I mean, my wife has the same sort of thing with cakes. You get people come to her and say, oh, I can have a customised cake, blah, 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 blah. And she'll say 50 quid. And 50 quid is low. I mean, it really, really is low. and they'll and ah, and you think, fuck off, and ahhing. You're not the one spending your time making that cake. Your electric, the cost of all the tools that you have to buy to start doing this in the first place, and the time and effort and stress that goes into it. And you think, so you should be paying about 90 to 100 quid minimum for that sort of cake. And I mean, it's like me when I'm doing gardening, you know, my hourly rate that I, outside of work, this is, that I charge is actually quite low compared to what companies will charge. Obviously, they charge what they charge, don't they? But you know, they'll be looking at 25 quid an hour. And it's amazing what people charge for your wages. Citrusy, twangy, and my phone's going to die. 5%, so it can't be any longer. So yeah, like I say, tasting good, looks good. For me, it was okay. I wouldn't say it was a top beer, but it was certainly palatable. A good 4.0 out of 5. Yeah, and that's it for this beer review. Thank you for watching. See you soon. Cheers all.